Hey adventurers, so today's going to be another book review. This is going to be for Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. So this is it's like a dystopian, a sci-fi, they're not sure all the genres that it really fits into, but it's both of those for sure. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury is a book that's intimately ingrained in our culture, and especially to those of us who are in the reading communities. As often happens though, this was a read of convenience for me. I needed an audiobook and it happened to be available at that time, and so I was like, all right, let's read this one type thing. I absolutely did need to read it though, because it's one that I've wanted to read for a very long time and needed to read for a very long time. And at that time at the time of reading it, or of deciding to pick it up, I had been wanting to read another Bradbury as it was, because of how great the experience had been with me reading Something Wicked This Way Comes. As always, I'm glad I read this book. This book, like any good dystopian novel, about far more than just a dystopian world where they burn books. It's about memory and choice and freedom, and just because it is set in this dystopian world doesn't mean that there's not something much deeper going on here. This is largely why, even though I often have my problems with them, and they often fall into a lot of the stereotypical YA tropes and genres and stuff like that, it's still why I oftentimes end up loving the various dystopian novels that I read. Hunger Games, Maze Runner, stuff like that. I like them because I like the genre and I like the deeper underlying messaging that's going on with them most of the time, which is the same thing as I like in Fahrenheit 451. I really enjoyed this story, but I have a bit of a different view on it than I normally do for books. To me, there's actually like two sides of my thoughts on this one. On the one hand, I don't feel like the world is fleshed out nearly as much as I prefer, and I feel like the writing isn't quite as immersive as I was hoping. In Something Wicked This Way Comes, I was totally and completely immersed in the world and the story, and I wanted that same thing here, and it just wasn't quite on that same level in many ways, and because of that, my appreciation for it isn't quite as high. But on the other hand, I find that the lack of the world exploration actually causes me to see what is trying to be said so much more clearly, and we're not so steeped in imagery that we lose sight of the themes. This world isn't foreign to us. It feels like it could be just a handful of years away, like 10 years away type thing. And so I don't really need to see how much things have changed or why they've changed. Simply put, they haven't. They haven't changed. Developed maybe a little bit, they may have developed some, but they're just an advancement of what is already here. And because of that, it actually makes the world all the more disturbing. Seeing that with the way that our world currently is, it could go in this way or it could go in a different way, but this way is just as believable as any other way, and it's not very far away from where we currently are. The other thing that I need to mention is how, as we are approaching the ending of this story, I was thinking that there wasn't really enough time to wrap up the story that was being told. But I realized that the story that I thought I was reading was not actually the story that Bradbury was telling, and that the ending arrived exactly like it needed to. This is something that I actually really love to see. I love when an author is able to engage me in their story to the point where I think I know what's going on and where the story is going and what it is saying, only to then get to the end and realize that I was completely wrong about it in the best ways. And I truly thought that the end of this book was such that after reading it, it forced you to recontextualize every page, every word that had come before it. And that makes me appreciate it all the more. So yes, of course I recommend this book. I think that everyone should read it, especially young adults going into adulthood or new adults and stuff like that. This 15 to 25 age range is probably about the best time that you could read this book, because you're starting to see the things that are in this world. You're starting to see how the world really works, and then you can read this book and see, yes, this is a very real possibility. But I think that you should also be very careful about the things that you are trying to take away from this book, because it may not be what the end is actually telling you. Once you get to the end of this story, you may realize, oh, I was taking away the wrong things from this book. I need to reassess what I was trying to take away, and if you choose not to do that, you might miss some important truths that are being told through this book. It's a fantastic book, and probably one of the best of the year for sure. I'm not sure exactly where it sits. I haven't made that list for myself yet, but it is definitely up there. So anyways, that is my review of Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We should be pretty soon here back to posting 2 videos a week. I don't know if it will be with this video or not, but it will be fairly soon here. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We will see you guys again soon. Stay well.